reproduction is going to be centered around hormonal fluctuations that trigger the production of sperm. And in the female, it's going to be hormonal fluctuations that control two things: the production of ova, so that's the ovarian cycle, the production and release of an egg, and the uterine cycle, which is the maturation and thickening of the endometrium to facilitate implantation. So those are the two things that have to occur in the female. The male physiology is actually pretty simple, as you'll see here in a few minutes. The female physiology is a little bit more complex because it has to be timed and predictable over a cycle, and that cycle typically is a 28-day cycle. In general, there are hormones from three sources in both males and females that influence reproduction. There are the gonadal hormones, right? So by that we mean the estrogen and progesterone that's produced by the ovary in the female, and testosterone that's produced by the testes in the male. There are hormones from the pituitary gland, the anterior pituitary gland, that influence the gonads, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, and LH, luteinizing hormone. And then there are hormones from the hypothalamus that influence the pituitary gland, GRH, GIH, things like that. Now, any hormone that influences the release of another hormone, it's called a trophic hormone or a tropin. So trophic hormones, they influence other endocrine cells. So a stimulating trophic hormone would trigger a gland to release a hormone. An inhibiting hormone would stimulate a gland to, or I'm sorry, not stimulate, inhibit the gland from releasing the hormone, right? So they're regulating a gland. So we have two sources of trophic hormones. We have hypothalamic trophic hormone, and we have pituitary trophic hormone. The predominant hypothalamic trophic hormone is GnRH, which stands for gonadotropin releasing hormone. If GnRH is present, it will trigger the anterior pituitary to release gonadotropins. The two gonadotropins are follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. Once these gonadotropic hormones are present, they will influence the release of hormones by the gonads. Ovaries in females, testes in males. Now, we have negative feedback regulation here. Okay. If levels of any of these are high, they will inhibit the preceding step. So as LH and FSH levels rise, they turn off GnRH. As hormones here, gonadal hormones rise, testes or testosterone or estrogen, they'll turn off GnRH and FSH. So this negative feedback, is kind of a classic negative feedback loop when the production of a hormone will inhibit ultimately its release. And we can maintain things at a particular level. In the sexes, both males and females, luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone affect gamete production. Now, what you have to realize is happening in the gonads is that these hormones have to influence the production of the gametes, okay, sperm or eggs. So they also have to influence the production and release of estrogen and testosterone. So follicle stimulating hormone is what triggers gamete production. It stimulates a follicle. A follicle is the structure that will produce and release the gamete. Luteinizing hormone affects the release of the hormone. So luteinizing hormone is the hormone that is going to affect estrogen production and testosterone production. And as we'll see in females especially, luteinizing hormone, well, and females only, luteinizing hormone affects ovulation. In fact, it is the trigger for ovulation in a female. So not only does it affect the production of hormones, it also triggers ovulation in females. We'll see that what causes the ovary to release an egg is a mid-cycle surge in LH. So if we could say what's in common between males and females with regard to hormonal control of reproduction, is this initial part up here, gonadotropin releasing hormone, LH and FSH. That kind of interaction between those two is the same in males and females. If FSH and LH levels are low, GnRH levels will increase so that you get more of those hormones. If they're high, the negative feedback will